Very first win. Everybody starts somewhere. That very first win. That one moment.
Welcome to another edition of Very First Win. I am your host, Robert Hilmer, founder of Goanna Capital. I am extremely excited today to have the owner and founder of NAS Company. He will tell you more about the business, a very first win as always. He's sitting in Dubai, one of my favorite cities in the world. I'll actually be there next week, so we're going to be hanging out, aren't we?
Nice. Yes, we are. Well, thank you for having me here. And thank you everybody for listening. My name is Nuseir. I started this company called NAS Company. Basically, it's started as a media channel. Started as making 1-minute videos on the internet. 10 years ago, I said, I think social media is going to be really big. Let me take a bet on it, and let me double down and create social media content. And after making 1,000 videos in 1,000 days, NAS Daily blew up and became one of the biggest social media channels in the world. And now we have a combined 70 million followers, but that's not interesting, actually. What's interesting is the technology we're developing. So I have a media company and a technology company, and we're trying to build solutions, an AI entrepreneurship platform. We raised $40 million in venture capital funding, and we're 100 people around the world, and we're just trying to help people build a business online. That's really the goal.
Really interesting. What made you, I know it obviously sounds obvious in hindsight, but what gave you that unique insight 10, 15 years ago about the internet and social?
Yeah. Look, if you want to know where the future is heading, talk to the CEOs of major companies because they can control the future and build it. So I was a software engineer in New York 10 years ago, and I saw Zuckerberg talk about how videos are going to become 70% of the Facebook feed. This is before TikTok, before Instagram. And he said video is going to be a big strategy for us. And I hear this and I think, oh my God, listen, there is this opportunity. Everybody's becoming a YouTuber. Facebook is saying we like videos. What if we create videos for Facebook? Massive demand for content, no supply of content. I think there's a leverage here. Let me go make Facebook videos. And let's see if the algorithm likes them. Short, 1 minute, not 10-minute long YouTube videos, but 1-minute videos. And that was my bet. And I started this, making one video every single day, that's 1 minute long. That's basically 14 hours of work every day. And that's really my very first win is going from a 0 followers, 0 attention, couldn't even get a date in New York, to making 1,000 videos in 1,000 days and ending that journey with 10 million followers and $1 million, essentially changing my life. And that was my very first win. It took 2.7 years exactly.
Okay. Why'd you come up with 1,000 videos? Was it 100 or 1,000? Sorry.
It's 1,000.
1,000.
It's just an interesting number.
Yeah. And what were the videos?
Right.
Did you have a strategy with the content? Like, did you just say, let's put up 1,000 videos, it doesn't matter what they are, or did you have strategy behind that?
No, the strategy was to see as much of the world as possible and document it for myself and for the world. And so I was traveling to a new country every 10 days. And every time I land in a country, I make a 1-minute video about that country every single day. And so you start to see that entire countries start to invite you to come and highlight them. So that's really how NAS Daily started. The videos are only about things that I find interesting. It's whatever I want to watch. Normally, if you find something interesting as the founder, there's a very high chance 100 million people find it interesting too.
It's really interesting. We had someone on the pod yesterday, and we were talking about the idea of a spear. In other words, going really deep, really narrow, focusing on something just you are uniquely good at, where it's uncompetitive. In other words, there's not 2,000 other people doing the same thing. It's essentially what you did. 1-minute video on something you find interesting in a country you've just shown up to. I don't think anyone else would have been doing that.
Absolutely. No, because no one has my skin color, my voice, my personality, my looks. So it's really one of one. But some people confuse spear as no scale. And you'll be very surprised that when you go very deep into something that only you can make, billions of people are interested in it.
I think that's a mistake a lot of entrepreneurs, content creators make. They want to go and almost copy something someone else is doing. So they'll look at, we have Ryan Serhant coming on. And I'm sure there's a lot of real estate brokers out there trying to emulate Ryan and almost take on his personality and do what he's done in real estate.
Yeah.
But the problem is that's already being done.
Yeah, absolutely. What does Peter Thiel say? Competition is for losers.
Yeah. That's right. So where do you see things? Do you have a view on where things are going the next 10 years? Because what we know to be true today is it's competitive in social.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I'm done with social. So I've gotten my fame. I've gotten my fun times. So I think the last 10 years, we created a lot of internet personalities, a lot of people with audiences, with followers, but people who want to live on the internet. The problem we have today is that none of these people are making money. They're not building businesses. They're building media companies that make no revenue. And so what I think the next 10 years you'll see hundreds of millions of people quit their job and want to build their own job online, want to build their own business online, whether it's content or not content, e-commerce, services, digital products, physical products, whatever it is. I think AI is going to expedite entrepreneurship because it's going to enable people to finally figure out how to market, how to sell, how to create products. And then we're going to see everything digital, everything media commoditized. So not only is it going to be competitive, it's going to become a bloodbath because now media personalities are going to be competing with 1 billion kids in India who can also use AI to create media. It used to be only Hollywood hot people could make media. Ryan Serhant, he's hot, right? Clearly, he's good at media. But when AI becomes the media, good luck, Ryan. So I think it's going to get really competitive for me and Ryan. And then it's time for everybody else to become the media. And so what I want to do now is I want to build the technology platform to help everybody build a business instead of just a media channel, make money on the internet, sell their products or services, basically rebuild Shopify, but with AI.
So what does someone do today? If you have 500,000 followers to 100 million followers, what do you do?
If you get to 500,000 and above, then you get brands to essentially sponsor your life. You'll make
No,
money.
I mean in the future.
You'll make $1 million
I mean in the
a year.
future, over the next 10 years. The next 10 years doesn't look like the last 10.
Oh.
What do you do if you've built that today?
Yeah, you can kiss your followers goodbye. I built 22 million followers on Facebook, and now they're worth 0. I have 9 million on TikTok. They're worth essentially 0 because the algorithms just change. And so whatever followers you have, it can get you a free meal at a restaurant or an entrance to a Miami club. Maybe it gets you a date or two, but that's pretty much it. You're really now competing with every single person that can upload any video in the world. That's your competition. So anybody with followers today must have 2 options. Number 1, double work as hard to make even better content to deserve the same views. If you don't work double the effort to make better content, you will just go irrelevancy and just have to retire and maybe switch to real estate. That's it.
Yeah. Interesting. What can you think of any people who are switching to running their own businesses a little more than just trying to monetize their audience? Can you think of anyone who's undergoing that transition now?
Yeah, absolutely. Like a significant majority of my friends who started with me as content creators are now shifting to just becoming entrepreneurs. I think here's what happens. It's all, as you said, the grass is always greener. When I get social capital, I want financial capital. When I have financial capital, I want social capital. It's always, you just want the second part of it. So everybody of my friends, they have the social capital and they realized it's fun, but at some point it's just annoying. And at some point you're like, wait, I'm not even rich enough to fly business class. So now the focus of these content creators is to figure out how to make money. Actually, a lot of them are doing options trading or real estate investing or something that's really not even relevant to them creating content, which I find very fascinating. So when you think of content creation, think of it as a 10-year stint, not a lifetime career.
It's really interesting. And how are you enjoying Dubai?
How am I enjoying Dubai? Dubai is great. I lived there for 4 years, but then I moved out to New York because when I'm building NAS, which is a technology startup, and raising capital for tech companies, AI companies, is really a USA thing. And essentially there's very little capital if you're at Series A and above in the rest of the world. If you're a fund and you need LPs, I think, that's great. You can have capital here, but I'm actually going where the capital and the AI talent is. So I'm basically moved to New York.
Yep. So what's your, we'll wrap up with one question. If I was a 17-year-old graduating high school and I'm looking at the world, the reason I ask is we had a great, amazing founder of a company called Vise AI on, and he is the youngest founder of a company to hit $1 billion valuation. His name's Samir. And he skipped part of high school, and he definitely skipped college, and he went on to do pretty good things. Now, there's risk entailed, but if you were talking to a 16, 17-year-old today and they were thinking about college, how would you holistically talk to them about their options? Remember, college is obviously not completely useless, but how would you help them frame that decision?
Yeah, I would tell them, apply to the top 20 colleges in the world, wherever it is, USA, UK, whatever. If you don't get into the top 20 college brands, don't go to college, because anything below that 20 is just not worth your time. So apply to 20. If you don't get into it, then build your own thing and try to find some of these like accelerators, startup accelerators, or founder accelerators, and just like join them, or even travel and make friends and then use that. Travel does not cost a lot of money, especially if you go to hostels. So I would encourage everybody to become a founder versus waste 4 years in a no-name college, and hone your technical skills, double down on AI or content. And it basically, essentially, anybody with 50,000 followers and above can get any meeting they want. And if you can get to 50,000 followers on the internet, you'll get any meeting you want, whether you're software engineers or not. So that would be my game plan. Create content about something you know or you care about, and then from there it's much easier.
And the great thing is, it's strange in the sense that there's some real tension in the sense that on one hand we can talk about how much competition there is for everything now. And even having 5 million followers, that's not enough. But on the other hand, we can talk about there's never been more tools, more accessibility, more leverage in the system to do anything you want. And so I think for a young person now, I actually agree with you. If you're not getting into a top school with a real solid plan for how you're going to monetize that and what you're going to get out of it, you have the world at your fingertips with AI, technology, marketplaces, platforms to do anything now.
Yeah. Actually, when I say content is competitive, content is getting competitive for established people, but it's not competitive for new people. So we're starting this as a 17-year-old new person into content, but content, social media now is terrible for anybody that's established with 1 million and above, because you've lost all your followers essentially. So yes, it's competitive for us, but it's not competitive for new people.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you so much. That was awesome. And I'll see you next week in Dubai.
Love it. Looking forward. Come to our hotel, and I'd love to host you. Robert, nice to meet you, and thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Where it begins.